Hey guys, Mike here with Stone Coat Countertops. This is a piece that we just finished pouring. We're going to show you how to make your own granite techniques that look amazing. This is a very easy technique, very simple to do. In fact, it's 15 minutes to faux granite. We're going to show you all the techniques, the tips and tricks to get this effect in your very own space. Stay tuned and visit us anytime at stonecoatcountertops.com. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Mike here with stonecoatcountertops.com. Today we're going to learn an awesome technique how to turn MDF into granite. It's a really fun technique, easy to do. Let's get started. All right, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use Behr Paint Primer in 1 in satin, and we like natural gray. That will be our Paint and Primer in 1 color. We're going to do 2 coats and we're going to sand in between coats. Let's go. All right, let's do the second coat of Paint and Primer in 1 in natural gray, and we'll sand it first to make it nice and smooth and sand those edges. Here we go. Okay, we'll let this portion dry. We'll come back, we'll lightly sand this, and we'll start our color effects. See you in a moment. All right, we got our Paint and Primer in 1 sanded. We're ready for our next step. What we're going to use here, we're going to use our normal tap water. I just took a couple of bottles of water, put it in my little garden sprayer. You can get these garden sprayers at any hardware store. It's a pump sprayer. It works really good to get a lot of water out quickly without using just a handheld sprayer. When we do a big kitchen, you're going to have a big piece, and this will take care of the water portion of it real quick for you. What we're going to do is we're going to flood this top. We're not going to just put water droplets. We want to flood the top. You'll see how I do that with the garden sprayer. Then we're going to apply some spray paint. This is just gloss black. We also have gloss white, and we have rose gold metallic spray paint, all made by Rust-Oleum. We're going to apply those, and we're going to torch them. And when we torch those paints, this is where it comes to life. This is where it starts to fracture that paint, and it gives you some really natural granite effects. You don't have to use natural gray. You can use any color you want underneath, but we like a contrasting color because black over a light color, you're going to see through that, and it's going to look more natural. If I did black and then I sprayed a real dark over that and did this effect, it's going to be subtle. We want some contrast. Let's get started. I'm just going to spray this. See how I'm really flooding this top. It's important to note that when you do this, you're going to let this fully dry before you ever bring our Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy into the mix. We want to have this dry, and we're going to let it dry for a whole day before we touch it with our epoxy. Here we go. Shake this up. Now I see some spots that are a little dry. Let's just go ahead and put some water on that. And we're going to start in a section. We're going to get this going. So I'm going to add this spray paint, and I'm going to start torching it. And you can see what this torch does to that paint. It's really, really cool. And you can see where the water really isn't sitting. It's not doing this effect as much. But this is just a really easy way to get a neat effect in here very quickly. We'll put a little bit more spray paint on that section. Let's go ahead and move that around. And this is a fun effect to do. It really brings out that creative side in us, and it puts down an amazing base color before we even get started. You can see how it's opening up those pores. Really starts to make this look visually interesting. So let's go ahead and layer some color now. I'm going to put some more color here. And you can see how it's moving what's under there, and that's just fine. That's going to make it look more like stone. If you want to move something, you can just hit it with water. It can open it up a little bit for you, like webbing and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and add some white here. And I'm just going sporadic with where I'm spraying this. Let's even add some of this rose gold right over the top. Let's go ahead and torch that, and we're just going to keep layering this color. Now I could use multiple colors if I'd like, but in this case we're just going to stick with these three. So now that rose gold and that white has lightened up our color a lot, but you're seeing through to that into some depth, and we'll add some black over the top of that. If I really sit on that paint in that water, it starts to separate it and move it even more. And this is a very fun effect to do. It makes you look like an artist. All right, let's add some more black. I'm just going sporadic areas where I want to darken it up. Make sure you do some treatments to those edges, or else those are going to look fake. I'm just fogging those edges a little bit. So I got some water that's gone over this edge, and I'll just move that with my hand a little bit. All right, I'll spray a little bit more water over this. You can see how that water helps break this up. Looks like you're messing it up, but you're not. You're moving things and you're fracturing it, and we're going to make it look very natural. These are effects that if you were trying to faux paint this in with by hand, it would be very, very difficult to get this same effect. So I've installed a lot of granite in my life, and you really get the feel for granites that you like. And you know, when you work with stone, or if you go study pictures of granite and natural marble and natural stone, you'll see just immense diversity in stone, and it's fun to see how you can learn to create what Mother Nature has mastered. And this is just a fun effect to give you some very realistic looks. So I'm just fogging a little bit more white over this. Do a little bit more rose gold, and we're just layering now. We're just layering. And I'm going to do a little bit more black here. There we go. Getting some droplets in areas that will look like speckles and things like that. That'll look natural. You don't want your edges looking a ton different than the top, so let's add some light to that. Oh yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, here we go. Let's fire it up. Okay, I'm going to add a little more water to disperse some of this. Oh yeah, there we go. I love that look. It's important to have this level so all your color doesn't run to one side. Let's go ahead and add some black on this surface and places I want to darken up. Oh, okay, hit that. Yep, that's what I want. This is now really looking textured. This is the look I'm going for. I like that. That'll look like a mineral in there. See how that's breaking up that color? We've just created a fault line there. Wow. Now I'm just going to go through with my torch and mess with things that maybe stand out like I don't like. I'm really cooking some of this paint, but it's creating some neat effects. It's very deep Very rich. I love this effect. This is just inexpensive spray paint off the shelf with regular water. It's amazing what it's doing as I run this torch and meld some of those colors. It brings some of the dark up and leaves some of the light to the top, and it does a really good job dispersing this for me. So this spot here that was kind of plain, I'm just going to tap this with my hand. You don't want to show fingerprints and stuff, but it's pushing that paint that's floating down to cover my base color, and some of the base color, the paint primer in 1, is showing through when I do that. It's almost setting it down, and it's working really well to make it look natural. So you can just kind of push on that, tap it. Now the paint's going to be kind of floating, and you're going to feel like it's not adhering. When this water dries, it adheres very, very well, and then the epoxy resaturates the surface, will penetrate this and bind to both the paint primer in 1 and basically encapsulate what we've done here. And it works quite well. The bond is great. I like that. I like tapping that. Gives you a really neat effect. You don't want to stop. It's just too fun. But this has created a very classic granite look. Your friends are going to have a hard time not believing you that this isn't granite when they see pictures of it. Holy cow. So we're going to let this dry. We'll come back, and all we're going to do on this piece is we're going to apply a clear coat and a little bit of metallic on top so it gives us some really amazing depth. Stay tuned. Okay guys, we're back. We've let all that water dissipate and dry, and I just love how this technique gives it this realism. I am so thrilled with how this looks. I really like the contrast of the light underneath and the dark on top. You can see where we did our rose gold, it gave it that tinge of that color. Any color you're going for, don't let us inhibit you from trying things. But you really want to keep in mind this works so well because of the contrast of the base color of the paint primer in 1 and then the spray paint that we put on top. You can look at pictures of granite, you can see different colors, and then just add, if I just added a touch of any other color, it's going to completely change this piece. But this is just outstanding. I love it. It looks like granite that I've installed. And the clear Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy that we put on top is going to bring this to life. It's important to understand when you do use a countertop epoxy, you need it to be have a good enough working time that you're not going to be able to remove bubbles. We have a great working time that the bubbles come out, you can torch them. This is going to lay out like glass for us. Another thing you want to keep in mind is heat resistance. If you ever have an accident in your kitchen and you need to put a hot pot down, this is the epoxy for you. It's very heat resistant. You can stick hot pots straight from your cooktop on the surface without damaging it. Also, you want something that's not going to change colors. You need UV resistance. You need flexural strength. If you have overhangs on bars and stuff, those need to be able to flex without cracking your epoxy. And you also want to be able to repair your epoxy. Our system can be polished and honed. You can do any sheen. So let's say you get this high gloss and you want to take it down a notch and make it look like honed granite. That's no problem. We have an app for that. So we'll show you in our other videos how to sand and polish. But let's go ahead and mix up our Part A and Part B. It's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. We're going to apply our clear, and then we're going to add a touch of black metallic. And that black metallic is going to give us some depth. It's going to do a little bit of wild accent on the surface. And when you get it certain light, you'll see what that metallic does, and it will replicate what natural stone does. Here we go. Okay, we got our Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy all mixed up with a 1-to-1 ratio. If you haven't seen our mixing video on how to mix our products, check that out. It's really important to get the mix right, but it's very easy to do. All right, what we're going to do is we're just going to apply our clear Stone Coat Counter Epoxy. We're going to use our 1/8 inch square notch trowel. We're going to spread that out, and we're simply going to chop it with our brush. This brush is a Wooster shortcut brush. Again, that's found on our product page of our website. We get these at Home Depot, and so we have a link to that of exactly the same brush and the same notch trowel that we use. Here we go. When you're doing this kind of an effect. It is amazing what you're going to do as soon as you apply our clear and what you're going to see. Check this out. You're going to see that our product here, it looks white, and that's because we've just mixed it. We're going to mix this on the surface. We're going to trowel it and torch it, and all that air is going to escape. Watch this. All right, so when I take my trowel, I'm simply just going to trowel this out. And what's neat about the effect that we just did is most of our effect was done in the first step, going over that paint and primer in one. So it makes troweling this epoxy out just a breeze. It's stress-free. You got all the time in the world that you need for it to level out, and it's going to make you look like a complete professional. I'm going to go ahead and trowel this out. Now I'm going to bring the excess back. I call this mowing the lawn. I'm just going to start at the top. I'm going to bring the excess back towards me, and I'll scoop the rest in a bucket so I can use it on another project, because I always have samples ready to play with and make something new. Whenever you're working with this product, and if you mix a little bit too much product, then you're going to want a sample piece so you can put it on a sample piece and not let it go to waste, but you get to try new effects and new techniques. That's just a great time, and that's how you're going to get really good at this. Okay, we got our brush. We're simply going to chop that out, and the reason we chop that out is because we're going to get rid of any rake lines that we left with our trowel, and we're also going to mix the material again. This is going through here and mixing this, and it ensures that you're not going to get sticky spots. The way that we mix our product is a little different than some other types of coatings. You're going to use a high-speed drill even with our epoxy. You're going to go ahead and mix that. You're going to get it on the surface, you're going to trowel it, and you're going to chop it. And what that does is the troweling helps mix it, and the brush helps mix it, and you just get a very professional result without worrying about leaving sticky areas in your surface. Okay, so I'm going to just brush these edges out. It's important to go horizontal with those edges. You got drips coming down now because we've chopped that and pushed it off at different rates. And so this brush is just going to go through here and make that nice and smooth. Boy, look at how easy that is. I can't get over this piece. It's just gorgeous. And to get these effects by faux painting into this surface would take extreme amount of patience. It would take a lot of talent. But this you saw what happened. I mean, it's basically finger painting. All right, let's go ahead and torch this. So when we torch the surface, you can see there's all kinds of bubbles in the surface right now. And when I torch the surface, I'm just going to sweep the surface, and then I'm going to come back, I'm going to do it again, and then I'll do it a third time. You'll think that you got all the bubbles out on your first torch because it's just going to immediately pop them. It'll start to level out for you. But guess what? There's still air trying to escape. Come back and do it a second time, and then finally a third time. And you could wait, 3-5 minutes in between, but typically on a big job, we'll start at one section, we'll torch it, we'll come back, do it again, and then a third time. Let's get started. You can see it's easy to do this. It's non-flammable. Our epoxy has 0 VOCs. All right, let's go ahead and add some of our Stone Coat Countertop metallic powder mixed with 91% alcohol. So what we do in our bottle here is we add about 6 ounces of 91% isopropyl alcohol. You can get that at Walgreens or CVS Pharmacy. It's just off-the-shelf rubbing alcohol in a high content. You don't want 70% or 50%. It has too much water. Use 91% or greater. And then we're going to mix half a bag of our metallic powder, and then just make sure you shake it up. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to hit a couple of spots. I'm not going to flood this whole thing. This is going to create some divots and dips and imperfections in the surface. That's totally normal because we're going to do a second clear coat. On all of our projects, we're going to do 2 coats. We're going to do the color coat, and then we're going to do the clear coat. The clear coat doesn't have alcohol, doesn't have paint, isn't contaminated by anything. It's just clear. It helps it lay out flat. I mean, you could see this is so flat. I mean, just torching it that one time, it's very, very flat. But now we're going to introduce alcohol, but that gives us depth. We already look a mile deep here because of the layering that we did in the first portion of this video. Now adding this top layer floating on this epoxy is going to give you another dimension and another effect. So I'm just going to get back and I'm just going to fog this just in some spots with some black metallic. And that's all I'm going to do. And that will give us another dimension and another iridescence almost to this, where when you look across it, the light will catch some of that metallic and grab the light, and it'll be fractured and things like that. You can go wild with that, but we're going to keep it just that simple, and we're going to torch this out. So you can see all the little dimples. We'll torch that out, and those will start to go away. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video on 15-minute faux granite. Goodness gracious, Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy brought this thing to life. I love the depth that I'm seeing. The ease of application is second to none. I cannot believe the looks that you can get with that system. I really like the metallic black spritzed on top and let it disperse, and you're getting these really neat effects that gives it more depth. Give us a comment below. Tell us what you think of this system, and give us a like. It helps us get higher in that queue. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet. You'll get all the latest and greatest videos that we're sending out weekly. You can visit us anytime at stonecoatcountertops.com. You can see all of our products and videos and tutorials. We got recipes on there for how to make different colors and different effects. And remember, until next time, from Stone Coat Countertops, you got this.